I may have been wrong about the Vikings dominating the Rams, but the reverse jinx work. The reverse jinx work. The Vikings have been eliminated from the playoffs, and the rest of the NFL can rejoice because everybody hates a Vikings fan, and boy, is it good to see them go down. Everybody knew. Vikings fans certainly didn't know that your team would fail. You knew you would fail because you've done that every year of your team's existence. You have still never won anything, and you will continue to not win anything in the future. Sam Darnold, my God, he had a great season. But again, this game surely revealed that why you don't pay him a lot of money. Some team will. For sure, there will be some teams out there that will be just like clamoring for Sam Darnold. But I don't know if it's the Vikings because they already got a guy like Sam Darnold on the roster, Danny Dimes. We'll see if JJ Mccarthy is ready to go into next season. I'm sure he'll be fully recovered by then, but will he be ready to take on the offense as is? Because, boy, that offensive line needs some work. Giving up 9 sacks in the wild card game and tying an NFL record that has stood for a long time is something that definitely needs to be looked at. Kevin O'Connell did not coach a good game. Nobody in the Vikings had a really good game. They got that one touchdown from Darnold to TJ Hawkinson, but other than that, not much to show for it. But we'll go over it like we always do. But let me know what you think down in the comments as well, and let's get to it. From the opening gun of the game, the Rams opened up the game with a 27-yard pass. I mean, you knew. Just looking at the way the game started, you're like, wow, what a start. And I was certainly one of those people that, like, oh, the Rams are going to lose their home game. And I know I've said this before, Rams don't have a lot of actually real fans because, it's LA. And all the real Rams fans were left behind in St. Louis when Stan Kroenke moved the team. But it was still an impact, for sure. Moving to Arizona because of the fires, because of a couple of a-holes that totally started the fire on purpose. We all expected the worst, but the Rams came out swinging. Stafford was great tonight, over 200 yards, or last night, over 200 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Kieran Williams had a nice run. They had a scoop and score touchdown by Jared Verse, and they had a nice interception on Sam Darnold. And the Rams were just flying high. They were monsters tonight. They were the true monsters of the midway tonight. 9 sacks. 9 sacks. Now, yes, the game could have been very different because it was 10-3. Vikings were just gotten the ball. Or the Rams had just gotten the ball. And then what happens? Stafford gets sacked, fumbled. Blake Cashman takes in the end zone, and it's 10-10. Luckily, upon further review, it was shown that it was a forward pass and an incompletion. And by God, if the Vikings score a touch on that scoop and score, that game is completely different. Completely different. Regardless, the Rams benefited, ended up having to punt that possession, but still the Vikings could not get anything going. Eventually, they scored 2 more touchdowns before the end of the second half. For first half, and it's 24-3. Now, who would have thought the Vikings playing the wildcard game against the Rams would have been 24-3 at halftime? I certainly wouldn't have, and it ended up being 27-9 in the end. Sure, the scoring stopped after the third quarter, but they got one more field goal from Josh Carty, but the Rams were just consistent tonight. They didn't make any mistakes on the offense, and their defense was just coming alive. This defense has a future. If they can replicate that going forward, now obviously the ability to replicate that is probably not very high, but Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, 2 guys like that in the middle. You have some great up-and-coming linebackers coming up. You have a couple decent players in the secondary. If this defense can continue to play like they have, they can beat anyone. If the Rams play like they did on Monday night, they can beat the Eagles next week. I know a lot of Eagles fans are probably feeling really good that we beat down those Packers, but it's like, yeah, you did. On the other hand, that game should have been like 48-10, something like that. the Eagles' offense still, at times, plays it a little safe. Yes, Jalen Hurts played probably through a minor concussion, and even though he passed the concussion protocol, he probably wasn't fully there, and he still just beat the Packers. But still, there are many opportunities where the Eagles should have been able to get another touchdown, at least get a field goal. I mean, the stupid Eagles fans were booing the fans that they went out. The Eagles are a great team. They have a great defense. They have a great offensive line. They have a great running back. They have great wide receivers. They have a good quarterback. They have everything. But again, the Eagles also have a history of choking in the playoffs. So when the Rams take on the Eagles next week, it's going to be a hell of a matchup. But back to the game today. For the Vikings, we'll see what happens with Aaron Jones. We will see what happens with Sam Darnold. My guess is that Sam Darnold will not be back with the Vikings next year. My guess for the quarterback situation next year is that Danny Dimes will probably start. We'll see. Because is JJ McCarthy ready to go and take that starting role? We don't know. Even though he'll probably be fully healthy, is he? Do you want to throw him behind that offensive line right away? I'm not sure you do. Defense is still being good. Brian Flores is still going to be there. Still have a number of great players. Jonathan Grenard is there for a couple years. Blake Cashman is there for a couple years. Still have the great Harrison Smith. They still have plenty of guys. They still have Anthony Van Ginkel, who's great. They have a bunch of really good players on that defense that are going to be there for the next couple years. The thing for the Vikings is their offensive consistency. It's always been their offensive consistency. Because, I mean, in the game, they couldn't get anything going. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. By all accounts, Cam Akers had a better game than Aaron Jones for the most part. Sam Darnold, again, just not efficient today or last night. Just all over the place. An interception. Probably could have had a couple more. Took a couple really bad sacks that you wonder what's like. If you're going to be paid like $50 to $60 million a year, you can't take those sacks. You just can't. You just gotta know when to throw it away. And Sam Darnold has shown when he's in big game situations that he crumbles up like a wet piece of paper. I know you're gonna say like, "Oh, you're a Packers fan. Jordan Love does it too." I understand that. We're talking about the Vikings right now, and sure, the Vikings had a great year, but will they be able to replicate this next year? No, probably not. They're probably gonna collapse. When they're not gonna collapse, but they're probably gonna have probably a 10-7 season next year, maybe 11-6. They're not going to be able to replicate 14-3 again. It's not going to happen. That's just not in the Vikings' DNA. They don't usually have back-to-back great seasons like that. They usually fall back down to where they belong, and we'll see what they're going to do with quarterback. Like I said, JJ McCarthy is definitely your best option, but whether he's ready to go is another story. Do you want to throw Danny Dimes out there just so JJ McCarthy can watch more? Or do you throw him out there with behind this offensive line? Big question to be had. And Kwesi will probably be able to handle them well. He's done a really good job at building this team so far. I'm going to try and be as as nice to the Vikings as possible because they do have a good management system. They do have great players all over the field, but they still have yet to find that number one quarterback that they can rely on. I mean, Fran Tarkenton has been probably one of their best quarterbacks ever. Sure, Dante Culpepper had his moments, but then he fell off. But if you were to say who's the best Vikings quarterback of all time that played consistently for many years, it would be Fran Tarkenton. I mean, you had some good years over the years from Teddy Bridgewater, from Brad Johnson, from Brett Favre that 1 year, from Dante Culpepper. But where's that really true great number one quarterback that the Vikings can hang their hats on for years to come? They haven't been able to find it. Now, maybe JJ McCarthy is the answer. And he certainly has all the intangibles needed. He is a clutch player. He's not the best thrower of the ball, but he's able to get out of the pocket. He's able to make good decisions down the field. It's just a matter of if he's going to be put in a good situation. He has a great coach for sure, and Kevin O'Connell, one of the best coaches in the league. But let's be honest, Kevin O'Connell did not do a good job coaching last night. The receivers didn't do a good job last night. Sam Darnold didn't have a good game last night. The offensive line was awful. And even the defense um, just weren't able to huff it last night. Vikings, by all accounts, played a terrible game last night, and as a result, they were eliminated. The Rams were the better team, and the Rams deserved to be moving on against the Eagles, and that's what happened. But we'll see what the Vikings are able to do next year. I mean, the Packers will be back next year, so Vikings fans, you won your Super Bowl. You beat the Packers twice, but that's all you have. You got 2 wins against the Packers. You got 2 wins against the Bears. Then you lost the Rams twice and lost the Lions twice. So, again, the Vikings end their season with nothing to show for it, and they go home to their stadium and find there's that trophy case is still empty, and will continue to be that way for years to come. I know Vikings fans are going to say, like, oh, we got JJ McCarthy. We're going to be just great next year. It's like, nobody's guaranteed success in this league. And nobody's guaranteed back-to-back success or even 3 years in a row success. So Vikings have yet to consistently be great. Always seem to come up short in the playoffs like they did this year again. Still haven't gotten close to the NFC Championship game since 2019. Kevin O'Connell's still going to be there for years to come, but the question should be asked about his coaching last night. Wasn't great. Team didn't play great, and it really showed on the field. From the opening pass, the thought that the Rams could win. I mean, Matt Stafford went down the field on the first drive, went 6 for 6 for 64 yards and a touchdown. If you're the Vikings defense, you're perceived as the number one defense in the league. You can't allow that. You just got eaten over the middle time and time again. Time after time after time, the Vikings just got beat over the middle. I know people are going to say the Packers did that too, but again, we're talking about the Vikings here. Vikings certainly have a great future. They have a great GM. They have great players all over the field. They have a good coach. They just need to find that great quarterback. Is JJ McCarthy the answer? Well, perhaps next year we will find out. Regardless, the Rams are going on. They have a really good chance to beat the Eagles next week. And it's going to be a hell of a game. I can only hope that the divisional round playoff games are better than what we got this wild card weekend. I mean, 5 out of 6 matchups were decided by more than 12 points. I mean, not great. We did not get the great football this week. Hopefully next week is the week we do. I mean, you truly have the top 8 teams in the league as is. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let me know if I did both the Vikings and the Rams good by fans. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.